Hear you, Tom.
Got it. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I have 7 p.m. sharp Eastern, so I'll go ahead and begin. So let's call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And go to a proof of quorum. I see Kyle, I see Valerie. Who else do I see?
Ginger.
Ginger, do we have Mark? No. Okay. Okay, but a quorum has been established with 4, and we'll see if Mark joins later. So proof of quorum has been established. The next order of business is the approval of minutes from the September 26, 24 meeting. Would anyone like to move that the board approve the minutes from the meeting of September 26, 2004? If so, please indicate by saying so moved. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The minutes are approved by a vote of 4-0. So good morning, good afternoon from where I am, everybody. I'm here in sunny southern Arizona, and on work travel. I'll be back in the building tomorrow, and so I hope everyone's having a lovely fall. I'll keep my president's report brief since I just sent out my letter, monthly letter, a couple of days ago, where I hit upon some of the key topics. One of the things that I just want to highlight, and I noticed that it is in Molina's management report, is that we're really going to start to move on the parking question more expeditiously. I've been getting a number of emails on that subject, probably as much as any other subject in the last couple of weeks. And so as you know, not to rehash my letter, but I think we've established pretty clearly that we don't have an enforcement problem, we have a supply and demand problem. And so I just like to really devote this short president's report to giving you my 2 cents about that, and we'll continue to discuss it as a board going forward. As I was thinking about this subject the other day, you know, it occurred to me that, you know, if part of the frustration that people have at our building is that you live at a place and pay fees to park in a place, and you can't find a parking spot and you find that's unfair, well, I think one could reasonably say that maybe we don't even need to have a visitors parking program. I mean, if residents can't park while visitors are, then maybe a solution is just to say all parking spots are for residents except for, you know, the limited hours in the front lot during the day for helpers. And that's it. I'm not saying that, you know, like I said, the board will have to discuss this, you know, as a body and come to a conclusion. But, you know, I just sort of had, for me personally, I had sort of an epiphany about this, which is, you know, we can tie ourselves in a pretzel about how to manage all the visitors passes. But if it's clear that we have more residents than we have spots, one thing to think about is maybe our visitors just have to park on the street. Like I said, that's not, you know, the final word on anything. It's just sort of thoughts that had come to me while thinking of this subject going forward. But we'll continue to talk about this, and you'll see in Molina's part of the report that we're going to start moving more expeditiously on this. And there are many factors to consider. For those of you that brought up the motorcycle question, we haven't forgotten about that. That's still part of the equation. You know, how do you affix a tag to the motorcycle? All those issues are still, you know, in play, and nothing has been finalized, but we're definitely going to be working more expeditiously on that. I have some commentary on the window and facade project, but I believe we have a separate line item or agenda item for that. So I will I would defer that until then. The order of business for tonight, and I've asked Kyle in advance, since it would be a little tricky for me to scan the room effectively to recognize people remotely. I've asked Kyle to take over for the open forum session so that he can see who wants to be recognized a little bit more efficiently. So I'll be coming back to you after we finish the open forum. But with that, I would refer you for more detail to the letter I sent of a couple of days ago in the interest of time. And at this point, we're on number 5 on the agenda, which is the first session of the Owners Forum of approximately 10 minutes length. And I will yield the chair over to Kyle for this section.
Yeah, so we'll open the floor for any comments and questions owners would like to bring. Remember your name, unit number before you ask a question. And we'll monitor online for those online that want to ask a question. Discuss it. This might be a first.
You double check, hold on.
I don't see any hands up. Don't see any hands up.
Shortest owners forum ever.
I didn't say anything, so.
You got a second opportunity.
Hey, Rich. We're in open forum right now, and we don't know. Nobody's gonna have to say anything. Really? Yeah, glad you could make it, because this is probably a miracle. Okay.
We can say.
You notice we've changed the room around.
I know.
Nothing on still?
Okay.
Nope, nothing.
I know everyone's just missing me so badly. You're waiting for next month or when next meeting to come.
Okay, well, with that, I move that we go ahead and close the open forum and get down to business.
I wanted to just chime in, and again, there'll be another open forum, of course. I do have just something to chime in on the window patio project, which is the first on the board discussion, I guess, window facade patio envelope process. I've been a little bit disappointed that I am not getting a very timely response from TDL engineers, so I am going to ping them again. They owe us a procurement packet. And so as I let the board know by email a few days ago, I will ping Chris Kelly again once I have a moment and I'm back at my home office. So, you know, basically where we stand there is they owe us a revised bid pack, you know, kind of a bid package for us to review so that we can say, yes, go ahead and send this out to the world for bids. I just haven't gotten it back from him, so I will definitely follow up with greater urgency. Because we don't traditionally meet in October in November or December, you know, we may call a special meeting just to kind of give the go-ahead on that or do an emergency vote. But in either event, I would keep you apprised through a message. So unfortunately, I don't have an actionable update there, and I'm not, you know, super happy about that. But I will start to apply increasing pressure on that. And I also have something to say about the audit. I think I mentioned to the board also 23 audit. As you may recall from when the audit was first reported to us, there were a number of numbers. I think Kyle and Mark in particular had noticed some figures that to them and to their reading of the audit letter weren't tying off. Pat had reached out at one point in June to try to get somebody from Gold Clang to come in, but we hadn't been successful. So I don't know where that stands now, but I'll just say, as I said to the board, that that's something we're going to need to tie off, because if we do go, you know, for any kind of financing and we don't have audited financials, it's going to be it's going to be a non-starter. So, so Melina, has anybody from Gold Clang gotten back to us? What's our status update, if any?
So they just
confirmed with me that the 2022 was finalized and that they're waiting for the representation letter to be signed.
Mhm.
That was the last, email statement, made an email. So I sent that out to everyone. I don't know if that bounced back, but I did send that out to the board and as well as, corporate, the management corporate office.
Yeah, and the issue that, just for history, since you weren't here when that first came, was we had wanted to get some live clarification because for those reasons. So I think the most important thing is either to have them, come to a meeting to talk to us, or perhaps if, say, Mark and Kyle were willing to form an ad hoc subcommittee to work to work out the kinks on whatever the objections were, that might be a more streamlined way and would not trigger our open meetings violation. So, if you two are amenable to that, that might be a more efficient way to clear some of the concerns that we had about some of the numbers not seeming to make sense to us, if that works.
I'll be perfectly honest, that, passage of time, I don't even remember at this point what our objections were. I remember generally that the numbers didn't seem to line up between the audit and our budget figures. But exactly where, I don't know. I have to go back and look.
I got mine written down. I'm not to refresh my memory, but I wanted to team up and have a discussion so we can get it done quicker. And then, or whatever.
Because I guess with speaking with, I sent an email to Keisha Lewis the other day to see if she was available for a quick, FAQ. But she was out of the office on the 23rd, but I didn't hear back from her today.
Okay.
So Keisha Lewis is the rep for, Walmart. And so I'll reach back out to her as well. I guess my concern is like, what exactly would she be presenting or answering questions? So I'll be with you and then we
Right.
can.
I think it's, one, I don't remember anything glaringly hugely wrong in those. I want to say like 6 or 8 line items that were a couple $1,000s different than what was getting reported, as far as expenditures. So what they audited, they found different numbers than what we were tracking as far as actuals.
Okay,
That was exactly it. Our actual end of years were not tying up in every instance to theirs, and we need to understand whether there's just a methodology question going on or what, so that we can feel comfortable putting our faith in the final result.
Yeah, my concern was which one's right. So
Right.
did we actually spend this money? They audited and they found, hey, you didn't spend that money. This is what you spent.
okay, no worries. I have now what is needed. So thank you.
Okay. There's nothing on the 20, we'll take, Melina will, I can see her writing it down. She's going to take that for follow-up. And then the next thing is Melina helpfully, I think, and very proactively has looked into some ideas about revamping our website. Melina, would you just like to, talk a little bit more about your findings so far and the state of play? Because our website is sort of jumping out at us from the late 1990s every time we log on. So
We can do one or two things. We can do it as a poll, or it's not gonna change the format. It's just gonna change the design, and residents will not see the change. Just the pictures and, the color background and so forth. So it's not anything major. It's just the look, the presentation of the webpage. Just gives it a better look. As Tom mentioned, it's not outdated. And I figured because it's a one-time cost for that we put that in the 2026 budget to do that. And we're gonna look at that later, correct, Tom?
yeah, absolutely. So Ginger as treasurer will take the lead with you on the next budget. So as long as you all are just keeping that in mind, and if you find a reasonable price, we can see if it fits in.
Yeah, because it's not on you guys' 2025 budget, so I figured roll it into for the next, budget season.
All right, well, speaking of, Melina, you can just keep floor. Well, you and, David, it's now number 7 on the, agenda, which is management report. So highlights, financials, etc. And I'll hand it over to Melina and or David to talk to us.
So David, do you want to go first, or would you like for me to go first?
I can go first. First off, I'd like to apologize to everybody for what happened last month's meeting. I had a family crisis and it was kind of last minute, so I had to leave town. So I apologize for that. And I feel like I haven't been at a meeting forever because I was on vacation in August, and I think the last meeting I was at that I attended was when it was Pat's last meeting. And it was right before Melina, or no, it was Melina's first, I think it was her first day, but you couldn't attend the meeting because didn't you have something that night? I don't remember, but so that is it's good to be back and to see everybody. Most of Melina and I have been talking a lot lately about a lot of different things. So I'm getting back up to speed with what's going on. I did want to mention with Kyle had talked about when we did the last budget, we had talked about meetings sometime in the fall. And I said I could probably do it sometime right after budget season. Budget season is in full swing right now, but in the next few weeks it'll be slowing down for me. So if you wanted to sit down and open up a new one and try to get things and, look at the financials, start adding stuff, anytime in the next month or after that, I'm in.
Yeah, so me and Ginger still need to sit down with Melina and start identifying ways to identify the operating costs of the facility so that we can actually properly scope a budget. We sat down initially with Pat, and then of course we know Pat left. So we didn't want to inundate her with, hey, welcome to the team, tell us how much things cost. So we figured give her some runtime and things like that. So I would imagine hopefully sometime next month, maybe before Thanksgiving, the 3 of us sit down, start doing that. Maybe after that, we identify a good date to sit down with and bring David into it. Although David, you're welcome to attend it. And start identifying exactly how much this building costs to operate. Because right now I think we have a budget and we just make the budget to pay for what we think things are gonna cost. Rather than actually have a baseline.
One thing we'll have to consider, well, we can talk about it later, but with the window project, there will be line items that will most likely need to be added in, that kind of thing, that you currently don't have.
Right, and that's the kind of thing I want to make sure we're properly planning for. As opposed to reacting to.
So. Did you want to go on, Melina, now?
Oh, I can. So, good evening, everyone. One of the things that I want to look at that was brought to my attention from one of the residents was lighting on this side of the parking lot. I will, obtain some various ways and inexpensive ways that we can provide more lighting in the front entrance of the parking lot on the left side as you exit out. It's been explained to me, it's very dark in that area, and especially when you want to use that walkway down there. There are lights down there. I did have Tariq, interim building engineer, to check that out to make sure that it does turn on. But again, it's dark in that area, so that's one of the things I'm gonna add to my project. The annual inspections passed on the elevator. We had the fire extinguishers checked that's been tagged. We also had the generator PM done, so the generator is working fine. The other item is tomorrow morning, we will have the garage PM done. Tariq is gonna oversee that, as well as other deliveries and packages and so forth that are coming through tomorrow while I'm out of the office. One of the things that concern me is the front door. While I'm sitting in a chair watching the camera, I notice that residents, and I'm all for it, but I feel uncomfortable when you guys put yourself in harm's way when a courier, and I find it very disrespectful that a person will put hands on another person. I'm hearing that it happened several times when they try to block someone from coming in. I'm asking you guys, please don't put yourself in that position. If I'm sitting there in that office, I am watching the camera and I will ask the question. And if you see a package in their hand, of course they are delivering. Just have them sit outside the package room, because what I don't want you to do is go in the package room with them. If you feel uncomfortable letting them in, just let them sit by the package room and someone will bring it inside the door. But be cautious of that. I don't want anyone to get injured behind trying to protect the building and you end up getting hurt in the process. So we did, Avanza did come back out last week to do the final irrigation. That's planting more seeds in the ground and getting ready for the next year. So they finalized that last week. And we should be good on the grounds. That is all I have to report, and by email, I will let everyone know my holiday schedule. Because I, at that time, had support in the office, and I know it's kind of like an inconvenience until we find someone. The MTech is looking and currently is interviewing for the building engineer position, but we do have Tyree part-time in the office, sharing his time with Hallmark and other properties that he's assigned to. But he's been great. He comes in first thing in the morning, he checks the building, and any requests that I have from you guys, I make sure that he addresses those as well. So please just let me know. Don't feel like, oh, I'm in the office by myself and I'm gonna give those things. No, give me those things so we can take care of the building. And that's it for me.
Question about the elevator.
Yes,
So
sir.
apparently it was like something was unhooked or slightly damaged. Or
Yeah,
something.
so what the tech explained was that when they walked on the top of the car, someone apparently disconnected a cable wire, so that's why the elevator went out. I said, why did you leave me without an elevator? So, he said they probably didn't recognize it, but.
So my question is, when they came back out, did we have to pay for that to come
Well,
back
we
out?
will not, because that would be my argument.
Okay,
So.
I'd be my argument too.
Yeah, so, yeah, no, because it took 2 days and it should not have, especially if I paid time for them to come in to do that inspection. So, yeah, they will get that bill back. There will be an argument, I'm sure. Mhm. And we will not be doing it 3 a.m. because that's ridiculous to pay for overtime for elevator inspection to be done. I'm not sure how that got through for the many years or time that it did, but I will not be scheduling a 3 a.m. Elevator inspection. They do not shut all the elevators down at one time. They only do one elevator at a time and inspect it. So it will be during the office business hours.
Good idea.
Melina.
Yes,
on
sir.
Schedule is a tree report proposal. You,
Tom would go through that.
oh.
Yes,
Okay.
Tom has that.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, Cal will. Cal would go through that later on the contract. He's talking about the tree removal.
No, I'm tracking it. We're good. I think I'd anticipated open session being the area where I need to defer, but I'm tracking the six contract thing, so we're good.
Think generator.
Yes, sir.
Is that on a regular run schedule? Because most generators that I've ever dealt with, you have to sort of run them on a periodic basis to make sure, you know.
And that's what Lamar did from Fidelity. He came out and did the inspection. He checked the oil and everything, and it's all good.
Yeah, but normally you have to run them once a month.
Yeah, he's coming out. Yeah.
Okay.
They have a schedule where they will come out and do that. That's a part of their PM.
Okay.
Yep. So just don't think that all these things gonna fall through. They will not. They're on the schedule and they will be handled.
Yeah, no, it's just in the report here, You just said that they checked it.
Well, I wanted you to know it happened, since it was on the schedule and it happened during that week. So I just want you to know that it occurred, so you will not be concerned about it. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
If we're clear, we'll go to general business. I'm tracking A, B, C, D, E, F. For general business, the first issue is the Clean Advantage contract renewal. I don't think I see a dollar amount in the, at least I'm only looking at limited view here in my screen. Do we have a dollar amount? Could, Melina, can you speak to that?
Yeah, so you jumped, I think, hold on. Is that my first contract?
Actually, when I see it, it goes straight to Avanza, so I don't see the one for the Advantage.
Oh, so my question with that is that it renews in December, so I wasn't sure if we're gonna have a meeting in November or if the board still wanna continue with Clean Advantage. There have been some improvements, still working around like their schedule, and there's a schedule they have, and we have new staff from Clean Advantage working and trying to get, acclimated with what needs to be done around the building. So the unfortunate thing is sometimes I do have to go check to make sure certain things are done. But as far as being consistent, that's there, but I need them to be a little more consistent as far as vacuuming the floors. I don't know if it's a time running out. But I'm trying not to micromanage them, but it seemed like I will. But I wanted to ask the question of the board, your contract ends December? And the question is, do you want me to obtain other proposals or you want to renew this contract?
What do we think?
Well, I mean, the elevator floors, I think they're allowed to use a brush on it. I don't know what they clean it with, or even if they do clean it. There's tons of stuff caked up in the corners. The floors, as you said, the windows sometimes are white, sometimes they're not. I'd be more than happy in getting other bids. If you know of any other, because they were kind of new, didn't we switch vendors last year?
Correct.
Yeah, so if you know vendors that you've had work history with, I mean, I'm not speaking for the board, but I'll speak for me. I'm happy with getting bids.
I don't think it would hurt
One
anything.
thing
I don't
I-
think it would hurt to get some bids. I mean, we can always, like I said, we can always take an email vote if we find, or whatever. So if we've got time, I say, why not get a couple others, especially since they're new and they haven't been spectacular. So let's shop, is what I say.
One thing I've noticed with the cleaners at the various buildings that I manage, it really comes down to a lot of times the companies are the several companies that we mostly have, they're pretty on comparable level, but it comes down to the cleaner you have. If you have the same cleaner coming, sometimes it comes down to that person, that individual.
Me personally, I think it's the supervision, because I'm not the supervisor, and it's almost like a common sense thing, and why you're not getting them on track. So I'm not trying to be their leader. They have their supervisor. And she definitely sticks to this. I've been on sites where they don't necessarily stick to this because they want to satisfy, the client.
Yeah, so if it says clean elevator floor once a week, they're doing it just once a week. Right.
It's that.
Right.
Yeah, so.
But the level of cleanliness is a whole other.
So I've gotten tools for them to use to do better, because the contract is limited as far as what they supply to the cleaners as well, which appalls me, because it's like, get the job done, however tools you need, why do you provide it to your cleaners? Because the thing about you guys' floor, it has texture. So it takes a special tool to get into the crevices of that floor to clean it properly. But I told her just lock one down, saturate the floor, and then clean it up. That way you're not scrubbing hard, you're not trying to, because what I don't want to happen is that the floor gets faded or chipped or damaged. So so I'll proceed on with that, but when I do that, the RFP, I will see if a lot of things are included, like the garage, power washing and stuff like that, included in that cost. Because I understand from listening to the owners, that was one of the things that used to be done here is taking care of the garage. Outside the elevators and in front of the, elevators down on the garage level. Those things used to be cleaned well, and they're not being done because they're not being told to do those things. So,
On your bid, when you put it out there, the things that you think we need.
Mhm.
Let's see what
I've
comes back.
done a list. I started with a couple companies. You guys had a gentleman that was here that used to work with Clean Advantage. He went, and started his own business. But that I will present all that I have to the board for them to make a decision. Sounds good.
All right, thanks. So we're going to shop around as per the sense of the board. So thanks, Melina, for being on top of that. Next up, we've got Avanza. The tree removal. Is this the same tree that we were having an arborist come out and look at? Melina?
Yeah, so the cost would be just as much as taking down a tree close to it. So what I did was went back to Avanza and I got them to knock the price down. So it's a difference of $300 some. So it was a little over 2,000 to cut that tree down. They was willing to do it for 1,700.
Okay, so just for reference, everybody, this is the tree, right? I mean, this is the big tree on the knoll in the back in the campus. So, this is not any old tree. This one pretty much dominates the interior courtyard. But if it appears that it is ill or whatnot, I mean, evergreen trees are supposed to be just that, evergreen. And at a certain point this summer, it decided to be, the sun decided it to be a burnt orange. So, just as long as we know that this is an important landscape consideration, and so I'd like to ask the board, what they think about this.
You sure there's no saving it?
Yeah, on that one side. So the cut it in half would make it, yeah.
There's no saving it, then. We can't risk it.
So what I also discussed is maybe we put that in the budget for the arborists to look at your trees to make sure they're not diseased, because it is an expense to do so. And so you don't have to keep looking at this again, cutting your trees down.
Well, the other thing too for the budget, maybe in the future, you can plant
Right.
more trees. That'd be great. Every year,
Yes.
every year, we get rid of the trees, we haven't planted.
Right.
Yes, it would make me feel a lot better, since and like many of you enjoy our foliage. I think we should probably say, to make us feel a little bit better tonight, we should probably have the sense of the board that, once this tree is gone, we'll definitely look into planting maybe one or two more to bring our foliage back. But that as it is to say, I would like to invite a motion to enter into a contract with Avanza Landscaping and Maintenance for the removal of said tree in the amount of $1,700.71. Would anyone like to say so moved?
I'd like to wait and to discuss this one more second.
Okay.
So what I'm seeing when I'm reading this is now that we've decided that the tree can't be saved, we're like, okay, cut it down. But when I'm reading this, it says stump cut down just above the ground level. It doesn't say we're doing anything with the root system. So if we're gonna ever replant there, that root system has to get accounted for. So is there a reason why we're just cutting it off at the ground and basically leaving that place not replantable?
So I'm not a tree specialist, but
I'm
I'm
not
gonna give a
either.
shot on
I'm not
this
either.
because the tree roots do grow and expand out. So usually they just kill that
I'm
stump.
not seeing that in here.
Yeah, not this, but I'm just saying usually a tree company, because they're landscaping. This is two different things. They operate and see things differently than a landscaping company. So with that being said, to plant a tree, you wouldn't want to put it in the same location anyways. Because you want that soil tested first of all, to make sure that there is not any disease in that area. So you want to do that first, because you want to know why that tree died. And we'll even have the stump there, they can still test it, the harvest the following year. because you still have some evidence of that tree there, but I wouldn't plant it in the same area until you get it tested.
Evans, they're a landscape company.
Exactly.
Have we talked any tree removal company?
No, I have not.
Because, usually when they say cut down to, just above ground, you have a stump sticking out. And it doesn't look wonderful, but,
It's also a potential trip hazard.
We could certainly table, and, pending further research. I mean, although the tree is obviously not well, I mean, I don't think it's a fall risk, at this very moment. So, I mean, if we'd like to table pending further research and ask Melina to look into it, would that, be something that works for folks?
I feel better knowing a little bit more about.
Okay.
Next steps, and if the way we're leaving it is in a safe, whatever that condition for people to walk past or walk over or whatever.
And maybe get some bids from a tree removal company, same landscape. Probably no, they come in. And we do it today.
Yeah, they may also come in because they're usually arborists too, and say, oh, this tree's gonna come back and you have to just give it time.
So what I've learned with that, don't use the same company as ours, because it's really a conflict. You want someone different, an arborist to be from a different company. Mike, can you please mute yourself?
I just wanted to say, I'm from, on 1009, and I have here in Texas had several trees that had to be removed. It's always with a stump grinder afterwards, because the stump will rot and start to sink in the soil and cause a pit there.
All right. Thank you. So I think the sense of the board is that we're going to defer action on this pending further research. So unless there's anything else on this subject, we can move to the next, which is this master umbrella insurance policy, which from what I'm reading is allows us to show movies, TV programs, and other content. Melina, could you tell us a little bit more about this? Because I confess to being less than fully up to speed on what this policy is and why we have it and what we can do with it.
If I'm not mistaken, doing my research in 2022, I think that the community started showing movies and they had to get permission to do so and obtain a license. And this is where it started. So Pat did send an email out. I did find an email where he asked them to cancel it, but the renewal started in June. He asked them to do it in September, so they said you're past the renewal time, you still owe on the bill. So when I spoke with the rep, she said she was willing to waive that, cancel the I'm trying to get my years together. I think it's the 2024-25 license. She's willing to cancel that invoice, but we're still obligated to the 2023-2024 license because we did not ask to cancel it in time.
Okay.
I remember us having any movie night. Anyone else?
Well, I know that ironically, Ms. T had said something about you guys used to show movies. I don't know.
I've heard that through rumors. I mean, there are folks who have been in the building a lot longer than
Yeah.
any of us have.
Yeah, I got your
I mean, have you, does anybody know anything about?
Yeah, it used to. Oh, there was like a movie night.
Yeah.
How long ago?
Yeah, but it's before the pandemic, for sure.
Yeah, it's weird that we have a license due for last year.
It's also not on our budget item.
There was never.
Right.
For that.
And that's what caught my attention because I said, what is this? And I didn't see anything on the GL, for this. And that's what caused me to do a research to find out how do I pay for this and what is it? That's why I sent an email to the board for more background before I process it.
So essentially, if we pay them $1,835.40,
We get nothing because it's in the past.
we got nothing. We didn't even, we're even aware of it. but they won't charge us the additional $1,921.67.
It was.
Well,
Because it's past the time of the, yeah.
I just wanted to quickly interject this. It may cover music as well, if I remember correctly. You know, when we've had parties and that type of thing, and we've had music playing, just for what it's worth, I just throw that in. I'm not sure it was only movies.
Well, what we're reading, not saying that you're right or wrong, what we're reading is stuff streamed or broadcasted or downloaded and shown via a TV, DVD, or Blu-ray. So it reads more like video.
But I think that might have been like music channels as well.
Nope,
Right.
nope. Let me do it.
It's 15, you're okay, girl.
Can I
Go
put my
ahead.
hand up?
Briefly.
Hello?
Yes,
Go
T,
ahead,
go
hear
ahead
me?
briefly.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Just want to let you know, this is T Carter talking here. We used to have movie nights in the past, and just to clear that up, it only include movies, not anything musical at all. And we had to have this Judith Gregg, when she was president, she got this. But we no longer show movies, so we probably don't need it, in my opinion.
Well, if, I mean, that's, you know, if we're hearing from T, who is our, you know, social committee co-chair, that we don't need it and we can budget for it anyway, I think my feeling is that we just shouldn't do it.
But we still have to pay for it. Is
For
that,
the one license that, I'm sorry, I'm writing notes on that, I apologize. So it's the one license that was not canceled in time, and that was for 2023, 2024.
So I'm confused.
Yeah, me too.
Are we a whole year? They sent us an invoice last year
So the last invoice I saw, yes, they sent the invoice.
and we just didn't pay it.
And we did not pay it, and we asked for cancellation in September of last year. But it renewed, the renewal process was June.
it was too late?
But this never came out of board meeting or anything, so this was just office stuff.
So I have the emails where he asked them to cancel it, and
In September of 23,
Mhm.
but it renewed in June of 23. It's now October of 24 and they're finally saying,
Well, they've
You didn't
been
pay us?
sending the invoice, so they sent two now, and that's for 2024 to 2025.
no, what I'm saying, what I'm trying to convey is typically somebody goes, hey, it's June of 23, you owe me for 23, 24. Then a month, 2 months later, you don't pay the bill. They're like, it's been a month, you're 30 days in arrears. Or they send you another one that says you're 60 days in arrear. They send you another one that says you're 90 days in arrear. It appears to my lack of reading all your emails that you've got something that may have come in June of 23 that we said in September of 23, don't want this. And then a year passes, no second notice, no third notice, no fourth notice. A year passes and it's like, oh, you owe me for last year. And I'm kind of like, I think you're fibbing.
Well, I can't confirm what was received in August because I wasn't here.
I
So I
know.
don't know how many emails, how many times it was a back and forth.
I mean, this doesn't even say that you're a year in arrears.
Yeah, this just says this is your certificate until 2025, so it reads
So
like this year.
Yeah, so I only provided you the license, not the email.
Yeah.
So if you want to see the
Well,
email,
I mean, it just feels like they're trying to scam us.
I
if you
would
want
like-
to see the email, I can show you the email where it says, you know, this is the outstanding balance, we have not heard from you and so forth, so.
I mean,
I mean, go ahead, Tom.
I wouldn't mind challenging a little bit on this, because if we sent emails in September of 2023 and they're saying that's not sufficient for a license that expires in June of 2025, then I don't know anybody who does business that way.
No, so you're missing that part. So the 2023-2024 renewed in June.
Yeah, huh?
We asked them last year in September 2023 to cancel, we no longer need it. the email states that you're past your renewal time, you still owe for this invoice. What happened to it, I don't know. So when June came around this year, they sent the second invoice, which covered 2024 to 2025. And so
Well, they
that's.
clearly didn't listen to us when we told them last
Well,
September.
there was
Exactly.
emails going back and forth on it, but I didn't, of course, included this in the package.
Yeah, no, I think Ginger hit the nail on the head. It just seems like they didn't listen to us. I mean, I can understand them billing us for the year that maybe, we were too late and, wires crossed, but then to keep going with it into the now just doesn't seem.
But I think Melina got us out of 24, 25.
Pay 22, 23.
If we pay them 2022, 23, I think they're trying to,
Or 23, 24, sorry.
whatever it is, yeah. I think they want us to pay us for last year, but they're not gonna make us pay for this year.
Okay.
So we're gonna get nothing for it.
We didn't know it existed.
We didn't know it existed.
How many more grumbles we have? I'd rather pay $1,800 than have to spend.
No, didn't spend a lawyer, right, I
Yeah.
mean, I agree with you, but,
I asked to have it canceled a long time ago.
well, the notes are saying September of 23, we asked for it to be canceled, but it clearly didn't.
Did you ask to cancel it before June of the 23? And do you have like an email for that or something, like OQE?
I don't have a written document of that. I verbally asked.
Okay.
I mean, I can go back and try to blink my eyelashes again and hope that they can fill it over the phone, they can wipe out this whole thing scenario altogether. I mean.
Is there any way of them knowing if we use this license, or is this an honor thing, or like, can we show that it was never
There's no.
No.
It's just a blank.
It's just like,
Blank letter.
it's the cops came in or the freaking movie police came in, you can go, oh,
We have a lot of.
Movie police.
Yeah. Well, we haven't scheduled a movie since COVID.
Yeah. So when the FBI warning comes on your DVD, this is what it's all about, right? What do you think, board folks? Do we want to just pay this and get it out of our lives and go forward, or do we want to? I mean, I fear what some of you are saying is true, which is, the longer we go, and if we have to take it to an attorney or we get, et cetera, other fees, we may end up extending our frustration. So I guess it's up to us as whether we want to pay up to get them out of our lives, more or less.
My question really is did the 24, 25 invoice just come in now? Okay,
It was
but
there in my email. I saw it in my email, and because they sent me a notice to say this is past due, and they have both invoices in the email, and I'm like, what is this?
It's dated, if on the screen I'm reading, that Melina provided us. It is dated in April. It should have been brought to our attention in April. It is being brought to our attention in October.
so it's too late to cancel it.
This is, yeah, so,
So let me go back and try to see what I can use. Yeah.
maybe we can get a prorated or something for this too. So we're 3 months late. You say, hey, I want 6 months. You have $917.70 for nothing.
Settle. Yeah.
Okay.
well, you're saying that this 24, 25 one, they've wiped that one out.
Okay.
Well, we
That's
approved
good.
it, canceled it. We have an email at least.
Yeah. It's more about the other one, the second one, which we received, I'm seeing here, August of 23.
Yeah, because they're willing to accept that email in September for the 2020 or 25. So that's why I said, well, why did you send me a bill? She said because the conversation was about the 2023, 2024. So she said, well, since you brought that up, maybe I can cancel that, omit that bill. But let me work on it.
Okay.
Let me work on it.
All right.
Because I wasn't not giving me anything. I can use the $900 for something else.
Okay. So it sounds like we're going to table this pending a little bit more potential back and forth, see if we can make a settlement. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay,
Well, let me ask this question. Do you feel, Melina, that, because otherwise we gotta wait another month to approve this? And we may need to, if you feel like after, here's what I would like to nominate. If Melina puts some due diligence into this and figure it's like, this is gonna be what it's gonna be. I say we pay it and get it out of our hair and move on. If Melina works on it and gets it down or gone, that's awesome. But if we can say, do your best and pay it if you have to and don't if you don't, can we not be done with it tonight? Or do we have to bring it up again after she does her negotiation?
I think this raises a great larger point, which is probably the reason we didn't hear about this before is this is, to my knowledge, and I'll have to check it in any irrelevant agreements. This probably was never brought to our attention because it's below 2,500. And so Pat would have never brought this to our attention because it was in his spending authority. So I would say along those lines, we probably should just take some sort of motion to authorize Melina to negotiate it. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm all,
I'm completely good with that. I definitely want to get the lawyers involved, so if they start being like, we're gonna sue you or something.
I just didn't know what it was.
so I don't know how we write that motion.
I move that we authorize Melina to communicate with the
PLC.
MPLC,
to negotiate or settle the 23-24 licensing agreement figure of $1,835.40.
all in favor?
uh,
Aye. All right. Motion is agreed to, and Melina is so authorized. Next up is the Avanza snow removal contract, which is the nature of it, of course, is it doesn't have a total proposal because we don't know how much it's going to snow. So it is a per event slash type of service. And so would anyone like to speak to this?
Yeah, so I look back at last year's and it's pretty much, there's a couple dollars more an hour. It's an hourly rate essentially we're agreeing to. So if it snows a lot of hours. So as little like it has been, no hours or little hours. So I don't think they're free, like I think it was like $2.74 more an hour. So I don't think they're being egregious with the request.
Anybody else?
my only comment is, this is for not only snow removal, does this also include like ice, the
A certain baggage pound, I think it's on the second page.
yeah, so as a pet owner, I really would like them to use the pet friendly, the blue stuff versus the white stuff. Those of us that have four-legged kids that are out there in this in that weather, they're constantly getting that massive white chunks of salt in between their little toes. I don't know if we could work with somebody who, at least on our sidewalks, provide pet friendly de-icer. I'd be willing to pay an extra $1 or $2.
Nowadays, most of the companies are pet friendly.
Well-
Because I'm forced to ask that quite a bit.
I'm
Having
not seeing
said that,
it indicated in their contract.
it's not indicated in there. I would check on that then. I'm willing to bet that it is. But also with pre-treating, that's honestly, that's where you get a lot of your costs with the snow removal, even if you don't have very big storms, because they're going to pre-treat, depending on when you tell them. Are they just going to come and pre-treat in the morning? That sort of thing. That's where you can really rack up a lot of cost.
Well, this doesn't have pre-treating.
There
This
is no
is all-
pre-treating.
Nope, this
So you
contract.
do that yourself then?
I know it doesn't, I don't know that we have anybody to do pre-treat. It looks like, this is like, if there's 2 inches of snow, then they will come in and do a clean.